All right. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to have you all today. Happy Friday to everyone. And I'm so grateful to have you as participants and as guests, and most specifically as speakers. So today we are going to touch upon the Macedonian health system, the Macedonian health industry, and how the diaspora, all Macedonians worldwide, are helping all these years in the development process, in the integrated process, bettering the health services and circumstances within the infrastructure of the health industry in Macedonia. And with that title, we gathered upon From Diaspora to Deliverance, creating change for Macedonian hospitals and healthcare system. And I'm so grateful to have today with us two of the UMD board members. We have one advisory council member as well, but most specifically is, I would say, a very um, uh, inspirational and somebody to look upon, a young Macedonian called Alexandar Bezanovski, which is a superstar of bettering the Macedonian health system for sure. So thank you all for being with us today. So briefly, I'm going to introduce our speakers today. As I said before, Alexander Bezanovski, ambassador from the World Medical Relief. We have Kristina Bundra, which is a scientific comms lead, a pharmacist who works with for Inhibrx, and it's a UMD board member, and Metodija Koloski, UMD co-founder and president emeritus. So thank you all for being with us, and I would like to start with a brief introduction about yourself. So I would give the floor to the only lady, unfortunately, on the speaking panel, but Kristina, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you so much, Gordan, and thank you all for joining. So as Gordan mentioned, I'm the scientific communications lead at Inhibrx. I do have my doctor of pharmacy and essentially started my career in global medical affairs at Bristol Myers Squibb. From there, I went on to support the entire oncology pipeline at Bayer, in addition to some other targeted compounds in the precision oncology space. And as I mentioned, most recently working at Inhibrx, which is a biotechnology company that's focused on single domain antibodies in both the rare disease as well as oncology space. I am a board member of the UMD, and I'm again very excited to be here with all of you and be part of this really great initiative. So I will pass it over to Alex to give his introduction as well.
Hi, hello. My name is Alexander Bezanovski. So I'm the ambassador of health at World Medical Relief. I'm also a first year medical student at Central Michigan University College of Medicine. And I just want to thank everyone for being here and like providing this opportunity here to speak with all of you and other Macedonians to help inspire a future generation to come back one day and be able to help Macedonia and never forget about everyone that's as well back home. And now to pass it off to Meto.
Thank you, Alex and Kristina and Gordan. It's always a pleasure to be part of UMD virtual events and in-person events, and hopefully more in the future. Thank you very much for organizing this. I'm really excited. I worked for UMD for about 13 years, and it was a real honor to work on some of these issues on a day-to-day basis. My current role is as a volunteer on the board of UMD alongside Kristina in helping to set the goals of the organization. My full-time job is as Senior Development Officer at Freedom House, which is the oldest pro-democracy organization in the U.S., founded by Eleanor Roosevelt and Wendell Willkie, who ran against her husband in the 1940 election. So it underscores that nonpartisanship that even UMD is so important. And I'm glad that And this week with elections that happened in Macedonia and future upcoming elections, it's good to talk about this important topic of healthcare and the health space. So thank you very much. Gordan, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much to everyone. So, well, I wanted to briefly open this discussion by explaining on what was the motivation behind it and what is the inspiration of doing it and continue doing it in the future. Hopefully, be able to even do more for our homeland, Macedonia. But by knowing that Macedonian health system is mostly collapsing, and even though we have a lot more educated medical personnel at the moment, and even though a lot of even foreign countries partners are giving us and allowing us to have a prosper medicine or health system, we still that we fail in the simple steps. We fail in the baby steps, as we call it, into guaranteeing or to put the grounds or the pillars of the Macedonian health system. And we usually fail on the online or the digitalization. We lack of a lot of human potential. We have a great, number of people who are leaving the country, specifically in the health industry. But that comes again back to the standards of work, to the circumstances that they need to progress, and that's where we are mostly powerful, and that's what is our mission, and to bettering the standards of the Macedonian health infrastructure as much as we can, and fight and raise voice for the Macedonian medical personnel who are in great need of bettering their standards of work. So it is before we continue and explain on what is the motivation of you doing all of this for Macedonia. I want to touch upon on what is making the most specific of being American Macedonian. This is a general questions to the three of you, and afterwards we're gonna pass and how that can be connected with what you do. So Alexander, as the youngest, can you say more about that?
Yeah, so to me, it's really important when I introduce myself to someone and then they ask me where I'm from, and I like to always tell them that I'm an American Macedonian. It started off when my parents named me after Alexander the Great. I have him on my necklace right here with the Macedonian flag in the back, and this is something that I'll carry on around my neck for the rest of my life. And I think it's really important as well to let others know, like here in America, where both my parents come from. They come from Bitola, and when they left Macedonia, I still have family there, and since I have family there and also have friends there, they're always people that I care about a lot. And whenever I go back in the summers, whenever I get to see them, whenever I come back here, I always wonder, like, what is my purpose? Like, what can I do to help my family and like help the Macedonians that are still there? Because there's times where I go back there and I'm able to volunteer at the hospitals, and I see that the conditions there, they're not the same as the hospitals here in America. I remember I was given jobs where I was just there just to mop the floors of the hospitals, but any help that I could give, I was there to do it. And since I come back from the States, I always wondered, what can I do to give back? And that's when I was able to join my organization, World Medical Relief. And the CEO of the company, Dr. George Sampson, gave me the opportunity where he said, if you're able to find some connections in Macedonia, I could help you to donate some medical equipment. And I know I tried for about 3 years during COVID to send medical supplies in Macedonia, and it was really difficult. I was running into a lot of dead ends, but Meto really was one of the first people that actually helped me the most. I reached out to many other Macedonians, but no one helped me more than Meto. And if it wasn't for Meto, working with World Medical Relief and the CEO, Dr. George Sampson, we were able to actually make a lot of progress, as in we sent 2 containers, over $1 million worth of medical supplies, and it wouldn't have been possible with Meto's help, with the organization, UMD of Macedonia, and Gordan too. And really what it all ties down to is just holding down and remembering my roots as a Macedonian American, and just always discovering ways and possibilities in a way like we can help our family and friends back at home. And to me, that's the most important thing, is to not to forget where we're from, and to always remember our country, Macedonia, because that's what we love most. And I believe like the Macedonian blood will always run through my veins. And just any way that we can help, even with this virtual meeting, it's just a great step forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alexander. I mean, this is a great story of yours, and I believe it will really definitely, it's worth sharing it with the young, generations, and, to be a representative on how we all strive to help to our homeland. Meto, can you tell us more about yourself and what influenced your perspective on supporting Macedonia? And do you see Alexander, as a young one who is similar to where you were at the same age? And what is the driving vehicle that is going all through all these years?
Thank you. Yeah, well, Alex, one is my role model, because I definitely recall being in college, trying to figure out how to help Macedonia, and being a self-starter is so important with the Macedonian community. And so I really want to truly commend Alex for taking initiative. One, for he set out a course, a path in the medical industry, right? He wants to be a doctor, and so his goals are, how do I help my homeland, my roots, even though he's born in the US, like myself, like Kristina. We don't forget where our roots are from, right? Our parents instill those important values in us to never forget our roots and our history and our identity and all that. And so this is a logical relationship or a path for anybody undertaking the medical industry, or wants to become a doctor or a pharmacist or a nurse or any other field in I guess the medical component. I'm not, Kristina and Alex are more experts than I am in the medical field. I come from the total opposite in the international relations. But I remember when Alex reached out and said, I'm volunteering for this organization, which I recall once did do some work with Macedonia. I'm talking about maybe like 20 years ago, with a gentleman called Mishko Vasovsky, who no longer is with us. He passed away, Bog da go prosti, but he always wanted to help Macedonia, and I think he paired up that relationship. And when Alex reached out and I heard about his internship and his work as ambassador at World Medical Relief, he really reestablished the relationship after 20 plus years, right? And so there was a lot of hurdles to get to the level, and getting partners to join on with us in the Tilo medical mission, which is run by General Michael Doobie, former Adjutant General of the Vermont National Guard. And so, UMD World Medical Relief, together with, you know, an organization in Vermont that also cares, but doesn't have Macedonian roots, but once or served in Macedonia or collaborated with Macedonian military, and they wanted to help. And so, you know, the support we got from medical, you know, World Medical Relief, but also the support that we got on the ground. But I will be frank with you, if it wasn't for Alex to really, you know, overcome all the hurdles, connect with the hospital, connect with the doctors, connect with the association handling, you know, those types of collaborations from abroad with Macedonia. And I mean, I recall where we would send some kind of medical equipment to Macedonia, and the doctor would say, and you know, we'd ask them to send us photos of what happened, and you know, they'll say, sorry, we still haven't started using it because we're still training the doctors on how to use it. And we're like, but you asked for it, right? And it's that 6 month, you know, all that stuff. And that's the last thing any of us want to happen when we're helping, right? Macedonia, when you're, you know, and so, you know, seeing the amount of supplies that World Medical Relief was able to, you know, put together to send over to Macedonia was just so motivating. And I just, you know, I'm so proud that we could do that. And, you know, Gordan being on the ground working for UMD really helped elevate, you know, our work and manage, I guess, how could I put it? It made it a lot more easier to get this container over, let's put it that way, where we've had situations where, you know, the Minister of Health would, you know, promote that delivery as his own delivery and not recognize, you know, the efforts of folks in the diaspora. And you're like, but why? You know, you question, why is that the case? And I want to, you know, Alex and Gordan's efforts and, you know, UMD as a whole, the organization, you know, getting recognized by Macedonian media for the delivery of the impact and the comments that we got on social media. It just, people felt good about this, right? And I'd love to see us do more. And so I, you know, I see myself in many of you, but I don't want to even use that because I think we're all unique and we're all, you know, I think UMD helped provide the framework to give more young people an opportunity to get involved in the homeland. And it's driven by initiatives, right? And Alex had an initiative, and we were I guess the force that was able, you know, to see it through fruition with Alex's help, with Gordan's help, with everybody else's, you know, World Medical Relief, the Datilo Medical Mission, and we got this through. And 2 containers worth of medical supplies, which Alex mentioned, over $1 million, which is not chum change, right? And I think that there's so many more opportunities and potential and to help other hospitals in Macedonia. So
yeah, so when you mentioned potential, I wanted to transfer that you know, topic and discuss more about the Macedonian potential in the health industry worldwide. And I wanted to ask Kristina, do you ever, you know, met some other Macedonian in the health industry in United States? Because we see a lot more Macedonian students in the health industry. Parallel to their studies, they are studying German language or some other language, and they are preparing themselves to leave. So it became like a trend. So they often seek opportunities abroad. So what do you believe Macedonia as a country should offer to the healthcare professionals on one side to encourage them to stay within the country? But on the other side, how can Macedonia connect with the network of hundreds or thousands of medical workers abroad with Macedonian heritage, or that are Macedonians born in Macedonia or abroad.
No, I definitely think that's a loaded question for sure, right? Like, I do think that is a huge issue, right? Because we do see a lot of top talent, right, or young professionals or individuals who potentially aren't able to necessarily find a job for the degree that they went to school for, right? Like, and then to your point, they leave the country for potentially better opportunities, right? So I think it's multifaceted, right? So I think in terms of compensation and kind of their working situation needs to be improved as a whole. But I think before that even starts, I think the quality of the infrastructure should first be improved, right? So I feel like the healthcare institutions, I think that's where the first that should be the first priority in terms of what needs to be improved. I mean, I think it was already mentioned previously that the hospital condition and the healthcare system as a whole in Macedonia has quite a few gaps, right? So I think in terms of where it can be improved in terms of quality of care, in terms of access of care, and what they have the ability to do in those institutions. Like, so I think they need supplies. So I think, for example, the work that Alex just mentioned is phenomenal. Like, so being able to offer those types of tools and resources to the country, like, and then from there, I think providing the physicians with opportunities, right? So I think I've always been a proponent of knowledge and education being kind of like your foundation, right? I think you need to have a good, strong foundation in order to really excel and go from there. I mean, I know just in my experience, I always knew science was a big passion of mine, just going through the educational system here in the States. I know science was my favorite class, right? And even, I mean, just in middle school alone, I was already being offered opportunities to be at pharmaceutical companies and internship and just kind of go and experience a new type of opportunity that maybe I wasn't already familiar with. So I feel like providing those doctors and even students, right, with those types of experiences in Macedonia could, I think, help make a huge benefit. Or even maybe travel programs, right, where physicians in the country of Macedonia can maybe go to another country for 6 months and then learn at some of those top oncology institutions or cardiology or some of the other hospitals that do specialize in certain areas, and then bring that knowledge and experience back to Macedonia. I know
So,
one thing that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so I believe so. What you just mentioned, it's at this moment a brainstorm that you mentioned offered 20 ideas on what can be done to the Macedonian health institutions and health system. But yet we are somehow stuck over here in the mentality that we are not able to do that. We are not highly educated. We need more, and we need this and that. But do you believe everything comes as an individual, and we choose what we do? Because we have now an association of young doctors that are going through their specialization, and they are part-time working at the health industries, even though they work as a full-time, because a lot help is needed in the Macedonian hospitals. And still they don't have health benefits in as a person, as an individual. So the government, even though they are working in the hospitals, in the public hospitals, studying and working full time, but being paid as a part time, and but they don't have the health benefits, they don't have the pension benefits, etc., etc. So with that, I will I would like to ask Meto on how we as organization in the past, the diaspora itself have contributed to the homeland until now. And do you believe that the Macedonian health system can be somehow better by self-governance, or it will need always support by extra powers or extra parties?
So I definitely want to turn it more to the professionals in this field, Kristina and Alex, obviously. I do want to piggyback off of what Kristina said regarding the infrastructure. And I think that's I guess, okay, UMD is going through and will be going through strategic planning this year, given that it's its 20th anniversary. And so I think the medical industry in Macedonia and the health ministry and all of the healthcare space need to go through a strategic planning of its own, right? And what is the amount of money needed to get the healthcare space in Macedonia to the level it needs to be? The infrastructure. I mean, I come from, or my parents come from, a town called Kičevo, which still does not have a proper functioning hospital, right? And so, and it has, 60,000 plus residents, right? And so we still have major problems. Everything is centralized in Skopje for the main types of, whether you're doing a cardiovascular examination or any kind of cancer treatments or whatever, it's all centralized, right? And that's, perhaps, what left over from previous, power centers, right? Belgrade and how, the systems were always in the capitals. But like, how do you decentralize healthcare in the health space? And also the salaries, right? And making sure that the Macedonian government is providing competitive salaries, for doctors, for healthcare professionals, because I remember I was on a panel in Skopje back in, I want to say it was like 2017. And they had the Healthcare Professionals Association executive director speak, and she had indicated that Macedonia lost 800 medical professionals to Germany in a year, right? And so, like, Germany is getting the best and the brightest from Macedonia, and we're losing a lot of capacity, right? And so I'm going to turn it over to Alex and Kristina to probably speak a little bit more about these. And I'd love to hear your, feedback and what your recommendations are for Macedonia, especially now with, a change. I mean, when there's, well, we don't know yet, right? Elections just happened. There's upcoming elections, but regardless of whoever wins, there's always change, right? And during a change, there's opportunity. How do we seize on that opportunity to improve the Macedonian healthcare society space? So Alex or Kristina, feel free.
Yeah, I can
Alex,
take that one first.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
okay.
Kristina, you can take it away.
Yeah, I think it comes back to some of the points I was making, right? I mean, I think the hospitals as a whole, right? We need to fund I would say a kind of a revamping of it, right? I mean, I think we do need to put more resources in terms of maybe not bringing it up to state of the art, right? But providing them with enough resources that they need to function, right? Like, I mean, I know I've countless examples too of where we've had relatives who've had to go to the hospital, and this is actually not even a joke. I mean, he had to get transferred from the Kochni hospital to a Skopje hospital in the back of a station wagon, like holding his own IV bag because they didn't have the proper equipment in the car to transfer him to a different hospital. Like, so I think at an institutional level, it's really a matter of kind of focusing on that level of infrastructure, I would say. Like, and then from there, I mean, I think the doctors will come and want to stay and work in those settings. Like, I think that's definitely at least in my perspective, that should be an initial focus. I don't know, Alex, if you have anything to add to that. Like,
Yeah, so as Kristina said, like in terms of when she mentioned before that knowledge is the foundation of starting up anything. I also think that being able to provide the basic equipment that can also be as a strong foundation to help revamp the healthcare field in Macedonia. I know that with my organization, we try as best as we can to be able to give all those basic medical supplies that we can to not only the hospitals in Skopje, but also to the hospitals that are around the capital city, because we should somehow find a way to distribute this medical equipment equivocally, so people don't have to travel hours to get it to Skopje. Because I remember as well, my Baba and they have to travel about 3 hours or 2 hours to get to Skopje to get the care that they need. And that's also like a really difficult thing that not all Macedonians have the capability to do so. And I know that in the future that our plans with World Medical Relief is possibly to maybe open up a clinic that's not in Skopje. And in that clinic, we could help hire some doctors to train them and just to provide just a little clinic just to get a basic foothold into helping Macedonians that aren't only located within Skopje. But that's a future idea for down the line once I finish all the medical training, and hopefully we can all come together and plan that even more. But I feel like just by talking about these ideas and strategies that one day we'll be able to put them to action and like really invoke some change.
Perfect. Alex, would you like to share us some more info about the World Medical Relief in general, but as you know, how come you came up with an idea on helping Macedonia, and what is your goal for the future?
Yeah, so World Medical Relief, this institution has it's been operating, I believe, since the 1950s. And how we originally started, it was by sending medical supplies to, I believe it was in Korea, if I'm getting this right. And with that, it was first based out in Detroit. And after that, it's been all volunteer ran. It's everyone in Michigan that decided to help to be able to donate medical supplies, ship them in these containers, and then to send them outside to other nations. And eventually, the Dr. Sampson, right now the CEO, he's been able to really expand the organization. And with that, we've been able to send containers of medical supplies to countries all over the world, to every continent. And with that, the way that I came across this organization is I was in college and I just decided to volunteer there. And with that, I was able to meet Dr. Sampson, and he told me that in the past, he was able to send medical supplies to Macedonia. And then after that, that was the only thing that I was fixated on, as in like, why was it in the past? Why is it not happening now? And after that, I was able to have a conversation with him, and he told me that he was looking for someone to send supplies there. And I told him that I know that I'd definitely be able to do it. And I had no clue how when I said that. I just told him that I want to do it. And if there's a will, there's going to be a way. And with that, that's how it first started. That's when I started reaching out to Meto. And then with that, Gordan, that's how you came with the second container and really got the groundwork there going. And I mean, the rest is history, and the organization has been able to donate thousands and thousands of supplies, and over millions of dollars they've been able to send out these containers, and hopefully we want to do and send some more to Macedonia as well.
Great, right. I'm so grateful to know you, Alexander, and Macedonia is definitely proud to have you as a son, helping in the development process, helping guaranteeing to the young doctors that there is a way, and there is a will from us to help them in their professional way. But going back to Kristina, I wanted to ask, given your involvement, do you believe Macedonia should prioritize investing in better health institution and improving the the situation of its population? Because we see that developed countries are investing a lot in bettering the health situation of its population in order to lower down the cost of the pension funds, of the health funds, etc., etc.
Oh, 100%. I think by improving the healthcare infrastructure and the systems and the institutions, I think the overall health of the population, will for sure improve from there. I also think it's not even just improving the systems in place for time of treatment, right? But it's also putting in place programs for prevention, right? Like, I think that's another big component too. Like, I think we always look to see like what treatment options or what's the next and best and greatest in research. Like, but at the same time too, it's about how can we prevent some of these conditions from happening in the first place, right? Like, or education around diabetes or some of these kind of chronic type conditions, right? That we could potentially prevent more long-term complications or outcomes for those people. Like, so I think by putting in again better hospitals, better institutions, more equipment for them there is one component. Like, but then and I believe Alex mentioned it before as well, right? Education, right, is another big component. Like, and I think by having some of those programs in place, like, I think that we should see a significant improvement in the health of the population. Like.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Kristina. I totally agree that the government, but also we as individuals, needs to always treat well our health industry workers, the medical workers, because we always go to them when it's the hardest to us. But what I have seen in the past period is that most probably cities or the local businesses will need to somehow invest into the local medical industry in order to keep the local doctors, the local caretakers, medical workers, because no matter how rich we are and no matter can we go to whatever private hospital, we always go to the closest hospital when it's most needed, and that is the local hospital. That is the first answer, probably, before sending you to some better place. So definitely we will need to work on that point as well. But Meto, as a co-founder and president of UMD, do you believe our organization has the potential to connect Macedonian human potential in the health industry with with our homeland Macedonia, and how can initiatives like this strengthen ties and contribute to the healthcare development of the country?
Thank you. President Emeritus, I just want to clarify that I'm not full-time at UMD for several years now, but so and I will turn it over to Kristina because we have an idea and she's really the brains behind this. But so we have another board member, Dr. Jovan Laskovsky, who is one of the top knee surgeons, I guess, in Ohio, but in the United States. And I always I mispronounce the field, arthroscopy. I don't know. Don't even quote me on pronunciation. But he couldn't make it on today's call because he's in surgery. But he's been working with medical professionals in Macedonia, and we'll go to Macedonia, teach classes. And also has helped young Macedonian doctors as a mentor, publishing, things like that. And so it goes back again, that education where, both Kristina and Alex talked about, and making sure that these people are the top of the top, right? The best. And I also feel that there's so much potential in medical tourism in Macedonia. I mean, there's a period where I don't think I went to a dentist in America for about 10, 11 years because I had my dentist, Dr. Anna Bundalevska in Skopje, and I would go to her all the time for any kind of dental cleanings, whatever. I know countless others that do the same, and and to the private hospitals and whatnot. But when we talked about this conversation is like, how do we improve the public healthcare system? The private is state of the art, but if we could get these others to be state of the art, and that comes with investment, that comes with collaboration, and a real interest in the leadership of the country to make those necessary changes, and invest in that infrastructure. But I'd love for Kristina to tell you about this idea that we have had, and hopefully Alex and other people in the medical field from the diaspora, because the best and the brightest left. Those that are first, second, third generation can play a bigger role, I think, as well, in helping and improving Macedonian healthcare space. So Kristina, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Meto. Yeah, so just given the wealth of, I would say, medical expertise that we do have within the diaspora, and just, I mean, I think in all the interest in this specific topic, I know Meto and I were just brainstorming starting a Macedonian American Medical Association, right? Just to get all those individuals together, get all that collective knowledge, and again, just wealth of information and resources, right? To then potentially do projects with Macedonia, right? Whether to Meto's point, it's a medical tourism, or we can implement educational programs, right? In Macedonia, I know all of us have plans to visit the homeland at some point, right? But I think having targeted trips where we could potentially go to the hospitals there, or identify additional needs of how we can support, I think is definitely a big proponent of that initiative. And of course, if anyone is interested in joining or learning more about it, we're all ears as well. But I think this is something that we think could really make a difference. And as I mentioned, just get all of that wealth of resource together. Like.
And this idea that came up during the UMD Macedonian Women's Conference, because several doctors and pharmaceutical professionals were in the room, and why not? Like, why shouldn't we, do something like this? And there is a Canadian Macedonian Healthcare Professionals Association. I believe that there's groups in Australia, and it's a logical step to have something in the US and in Europe too one day, as we're expanding efforts there.
So I'm so grateful that after an idea comes, and we can be so useful and helpful to Macedonia, offering services, offering products as applications, as software, as modernizing the whole system. And we always see the potential, because it's our homeland on the one way, but it's a beautiful land that it's across over. People are visiting those places, and it needs development, it needs strategy, as Meto mentioned. But do you, and this is a general question to all of you, but I would like to hear more on, we just launched an application, which I'm very happy about it, in cooperation with Hello Help Me. It's an application that will serve the whole Balkan region, 6 states, but right now is operating in Bosnia and in Macedonia, where now you can book an appointment with a doctor, physical or virtual appointment, in order to go and check your relatives, your friends, your close ones, who was very hard on appointing a meeting with a doctor before, because the funds needs to be transferred, and then the appointments needs to be somehow booked, which is very super hard. The system, moj termin, which is called my time. Can we translate it correctly? It's not working properly, and now UMD as an organization really helped into modernizing that process, and being able to book not only appointment with a doctor, but to order medical drugs to delivery to your home, book a caretaker for the ones in needs, book appointment with a laboratory, check your blood test, and a lot more to come. So definitely we are progressing in helping in the field of health industry. And I'm so grateful that we have young ones with energy and with new ideas that will need to transfer the countries. But as a closing statement from all of you, because we are in a period where a change needs to be done in the country, in Macedonia. And the young population is striving for new changes, for some positive changes. What do you believe needs to be done, having in mind, everything that is going on with the new government, or the ones who will come as a new Minister of Health? So, Alex, would you like to go first as the youngest?
Yeah, so I know that talking with some of the friends and family back home, one of the main things, or like the main concerns, is first we need to create that incentive, for change, create that incentive for people to gain that knowledge and to stay in Macedonia. And if we're able to create that incentive, I think we're going to be able to create that change and really progress the future of every Macedonian. And it doesn't start off unless someone decides to put their foot forward and to give out those ideas, and then for us to act upon it. And I feel like a lot of everyone here and what we're talking about, it's able to give those ideas and sort of to inspire any generation of Macedonians at home or abroad to sort of create that discussion for change. And I think that's really important of what we're doing right now.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alexander. Kristina?
Yeah, I think from my side, the biggest thing is just really taking healthcare and the whole medical system as a priority, right? And really prioritizing advancing the system, right? As we mentioned, there are quite a few gaps, but I also think with gaps come new opportunities, right? So I think hopefully with the new administration who will be in place, like that'll be something that will be prioritized. I mean, something as simple as even ramps in the city, right? Unfortunately we have a friend who has MS, and I think even just getting around the city is a challenge. So something that to us might seem as minimal as that is something that needs to be in place. Like, so I think by inspiring the change that Alex just mentioned, right, hopefully we'll see some of these advancements in the next administration. Like,
Thank you very much. Meto, so we're going to close with your statement, and then we're going to open the floor for questions and answers.
Yeah, no, thank you, Gordan, and thank you, Alex and Kristina, and that. Thank you for mentioning the handicap accessibility in the country. I think that's so important. It comes down to that infrastructure, and hopefully that can be resolved as soon as possible. I think what's needed is more and more public-private partnerships. We have cutting-edge pharmaceutical companies like Alkaloid in Macedonia. I can name another company that's doing medical coding out of Bitola Task Force BPO that employs thousands of employees. Another company, Limitless Solutions, that provides support to companies abroad and trying to set up in Macedonia. And I think that there's so many opportunities, and I think it comes down to the leadership. And I'm glad, at least from a nonprofit, standpoint, UMD, World Medical Relief, the Datilo Medical Mission, are trying to make inroads, trying to help alleviate some of the pressure in society, but that's only scratching the surface, right? We have a lot more work to do. We have to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty to really fix the problems in society. There's so many, and I'm sure we're going to talk about other topics virtually in the future. But in this field, I think it's of utmost critical importance, and I'm so glad that UMD set up this partnership on the Hello Help Me app, because I don't know how many times people would reach out to us and say, my grandparents are in a senior citizens home, or they're looking for support, a caretaker, and we don't know what to do, right? And I'm like, Gordan, can you help? Can we find out a way? Obviously he's UMD's and the diaspora's point person on the ground. And finally, now we have something that you can download an app, and if you have any kind of concerns or need to do any kind of bookings, you have access to it, right? And obviously we're still working out the kinks, and I'm sure the process is going to improve. But we Macedonian people deserve better, and the leaders need to make sure that they're, whatever policies, strategic planning efforts that they're going to do is to better society, better the healthcare of Macedonian citizens. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone. It's been a great honor to hear more on what is driving us all to always contribute and always help Macedonia and Macedonians in general. It's great to have you all from United States, and I know that to the other parts of the world, we also have a lot more people who are trying to help Macedonian health system. So definitely, my wish is for whoever leads the next government to have in mind always including and cooperating with the diaspora, or people who willingly or unwillingly left the country, and strive for better chances, better opportunities, and better standards of work. But people are still loving Macedonia. They are willing to contribute and help, and that is definitely what we do as an organization. So thank you all for your wonderful statements, and thank you for being with us today. We have a question in the comments, and this is I don't know who can answer this question, but let's say is to all. So why it is so challenging for us physicians practice outside of Macedonia to keep our license active in our land country? I have tried many times to keep my license active, however, no success through Lekarska Komora. Any suggestions? So I don't know if any of you have any experience with such cases.
I believe we have, I think Adriana, we're happy to, she has her hand raised, and if she'd like to kind of clarify, or I've asked her to unmute.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the time to answer this. My name is Adriana Psaska. I am currently in UK. Sorry, I joined a little bit later. Thank you so much for taking the initiative to create such an organization. It's a big demand. There is a need for us to do something like this and to expand it on a higher level. So that's a great initiative, and I'm here to support it in any way we can. And of course, I moved out of Macedonia a long time ago. I lived in Canada for so many years. I'm currently finishing my training in specialty in UK. I'm planning on going back to Canada again. But having my license active back home is something that you always want to go back, and if it happens at any time, we want to help our people. That's the patriotism.
No. We cannot hear you well, Adriana.
I think she cut out. She's cutting.
Yeah.
So, so Adriana, I think,
Um, you know, the, the,
I think we
sorry, I think, I think she cut out. We can't, but maybe if you could insert in the chat, Adriana, that would be super helpful. But thank you.
Yeah.
It's so exciting that we have somebody from the UK.
Definitely, definitely. We have raised. We have another hand raised.
Yeah, how you all doing? I can wait for Adriana. I see her back. Maybe she can continue what she was saying.
Oh, great, Adriana. You're muted.
yeah, just you know, if there's any way we can have our licenses open, and Lekkerska Komora is a little bit close for people that are willing to have our licenses active while we are practicing somewhere else, because I think that we can share the areas of our expertise and have a much bigger input in our land country, and if there's any way that we can have our participation, then why not?
Thank you very much. I don't believe, I mean, you know, any of our speakers have experience with the licenses, the doctor's licenses in the country, but I would be happy to learn more. Please email us about the issue, and definitely we can contact the Lekarska Komora to see, you know, what is the situation over there, what is happening with those licenses, because I believe there should be other examples with such issues who are practicing abroad and not staying in the country. So thank you very much, Adriana, for bringing this up.
Gordan, maybe yeah, we could definitely look into that and maybe circulate an email even to the healthcare professionals worldwide that are of Macedonian heritage, if, you know, renewing your licenses, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that would be super helpful.
So we had another one, Kire.
Yes, can
Are
you
you
all hear me
still in?
now?
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm not in a position where I can turn on my camera because I'm in the car. But I just want to put an idea out there. First of all, thank you for taking the time for doing this call, because I think it's helpful for us to start connecting on a professional level, not just only on the level of where we're coming from. And we all know that in any kind of case, we would like to help our homeland and the people that are living over there. Hopefully now with this political situation and the changes that there are upcoming to the political world in Macedonia, I think that we have an opportunity over here for us as an organization in the diaspora to start like networking more on a professional level and start thinking a little bit on a different side, how we can support. It's either going to be bridging in as an ideas, or also I chime in on what Alexandar was saying with his organization that he's part of, on supplying some sort of different kind of medical support. And this is my sole opinion, but I think that there's opportunity for us as an organization to start reaching out to like network professionals that they have some sort of connection to Macedonia, because I've come about like a lot of situation where there's a people that they're either born in Macedonia or they have a heritage of Macedonia. They have no idea that our our organization is there. They're not even aware that there's organization for the Macedonian community in the diaspora. And speaking guilty in charge, I wasn't aware that this organization is focused on how we can support the homeland and the people living in the homeland. It's not only about like being a part of an organization called Macedonian Diaspora just to say that you are part of, but I think that all of us, we need to start doing our part of how we can think a little bit more outside of the box of how we can support this organization and working more on helping out in either there's going to be different courses. To Kristina's point from earlier, that she, there's a ways where we can start brainstorming of how we can make like different kind of approach to this organization. And I'm not criticizing. The idea is not to criticize anything that is being done. Completely opposite. Maybe it's a different era now that we can thinking about like how we can do like it's either like an app or part of the organization where we can connect all each other and find a way how we can support the medical, especially let's say field in Macedonia. I'm coming from an optical industry in the medical supplies, and I'm sure that my organization, my company for I work with, if we have a plan in, we can actually connect somehow where we can supply medical supplies or optical supplies. And I'm sure, as I said, I've met so many people that they have some sort of connection with the Macedonia and the homeland that they're not even aware that there's an organization that we can actually connect and find a way how we can support. I hope all this makes sense. And again, it's nothing to criticize. It's completely opposite. I'm applauding all of you, what you've done, and I'm actually interested in more being involved in this organization. And I know that there's a tons of people that they are sharing the same opinion. We can do this. It just, unfortunately, for whatever reason it is, they didn't know the purposes of the organization, or they're not even part of the organization. So I think that starting point from now on should be, and this is an idea, we should start like networking more, because we all know people that they are somehow connected with Macedonia, but not connected. There's a people that they have nothing to do with Macedonia. They're willing to be able to help with this.
Thank you very much, Kira, for bringing all these things up. It definitely makes sense, everything you say, and I'm so grateful and happy in the same moment that we are in the same path. We think the same because we are working. So in the strategy for by the end of 2024 is for us to somehow create an online application that will be like a Macedonian LinkedIn, that people can connect professionally, companies can connect professionally, they can recruit people, connect with businesses, and we are really working on it. We have already applied for grants for it. Maybe we should do even a fundraise for such application. It will be great, but definitely, so mapping of our diaspora for people to be able to open different countries, different cities, and to have a database of all Macedonians, for people to be able to reconnect, to connect, for different reasons, but first to support Macedonian businesses, Macedonian entrepreneurs, doctors, and quality people that are willing to help to Macedonia. But yes, an informational channel, kind of networking events. I'm always happy to be part of whatever Macedonians events are organized worldwide, and it's very interesting because they're all similar, even though they are in the completely different parts of the world. And I really love this because we always leave a positive mark whatever we are. If there are no other questions, I would like to thank you all for being with us today. Happy Friday again to everyone. Enjoy the weekend. Please follow actively what is happening in Macedonia. It's a dynamic period, a very interesting period, and I believe a lot of things needs to be done in the future, and that is where we as an organization, we as Macedonians will need to navigate those circumstances, those processes, and to always guarantee that Macedonia delivers great for its people, for its country, and keep together its Macedonians. Stay proud. Have a wonderful weekend, and talk to you whenever you need us.
Thank you so much, Gordan. Thank you, Kristina and Alex.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Great day.
Bye-bye.
Have a good